Nefariority may not be the five-course Michelin-rated meal of revelation that will satisfy the average consumer, but it serves up transparency. It is drizzled in power dynamics, sprinkled with deeply personal interactions, professional, platonic, romantic, and just plain sexual. I am incredibly grateful my own demise gave life to this book. My own defects of character drive the story. My shortcomings made me a glutton of punishment while I attempted to stand up for myself. Joel carries this weight way more gracefully than I ever did. What almost broke me created him. As the book cover was finalized and release dates considered, I have been so reminded of Psalm 23:6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I am grateful for what is following me, but what is leading? For me, every time I publish, what leads is faith. It is faith that lights the path into the abyss of uncertainty. If faith without works is dead, consider this one of my works. I decided to let my reputation die to this thing, to let what folks think or say about how I squandered a seemingly good opportunity pass me right on by, to hold the confidence of my God rather than that of man, which is inherently subjective. This may not be what is trending, but it is absolutely necessary for me as a former layperson on studio lots, as a young man who did not know who he was in many regards, but never lost sight of what was wrong and what was right, as a human who discovered the no man's land, legal civil code exceptions of creative rule hedged under artistic right that constitutes toxicity in a writer's room. This may not be what is trending, but it is absolutely necessary for me as a former layperson on studio lots, as a young man who did not know who he was in many regards, but never lost sight of what was wrong and what was right, as a human who discovered the no man's land of legal civil code exceptions of creative rule hedged under artistic right that constitutes toxicity in a writer's room. With all that said, from the depths of my heart, I extend a sincere welcome. Welcome to the world of all access passes, the world of would you like your water room temp or cold? Welcome to the world where it is all about who you know, and more important. With all that said, from the depths of my heart, I extend a sincere welcome. Welcome to the world of all access passes, the world of would you like your water room temp or cold? Welcome to the world where it is all about who you know, and more importantly, who you do not want to piss off. Nefariority is the first installment of a series, and I am tremendously humbled by the journey this endeavor has taken me on. I abandoned myself to this book, and the book gave itself back to me. I wholly believe the cultural return on investment will be well worth the sacrifice. Now, let the show begin. Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Eric Robert Hunter here. I am super stoked to announce that proofs of my manuscript, my first novel, Nefariority, are currently being circulated as we prepare to set a release date, as we put the finishing touches on this great book that is going to reveal and talk about and discuss and illustrate what it's like in a writer's room, making it to a writer's room in Hollywood for a primetime television show. The story is driven by my experience, and though this text is fictional, it is founded in true events, and I make that evident throughout the text. With that, I'd like to offer you a preview, a reading of the foreword. Now is not a good time to release this behemoth of a book. Not that this story is incredibly long or intellectually demanding, but it is ongoing. It is emotionally disturbing. It is thought-provoking. Essentially, there will never be an ideal or perfect time to go public with this novel. As it stands, this body of work took me several years to produce. Much of that time was spent not only writing, but debating whether I should move forward with the project. Though this book is fictional, the contents herein are rooted in and mirror my actual experience as an assistant to Hollywood elites. The rising action, character development, and climaxes are based on true events. You just can't write this. You can't make this stuff up, I would say to myself, shaking my head in disbelief, as if it played out, and even more so in hindsight. Hence why the story must be told. You just can't write this. Can't make this stuff up, I would say to myself, shaking my head in disbelief as it played out, and even more so in hindsight. Hence why the story must be told. The internal debate of whether to publish or not was always won by the case for a story that is bigger than me, bigger than my ego, bigger than my name, bigger than my reputation, bigger than my fear of loss of opportunity, retaliation, sanction, and outcast. Since this is not about becoming the next great writer, I have chosen to self-publish rather than continue waiting for some literary agent, publisher, or editor to grant me permission to go to print. This is about my overcoming, my catharsis, my healing. The dehumanizing experience afforded to me in a prized writer's room on a famous studio lot transpired seemingly moments before the hashtag #MeToo movement caught a pulse. As the movement set the industry on fire, I learned that the battle cry of the Black bisexual male would not find its voice for another couple of years. Now that studio heads and the public at large are navigating through the dust that remains kicked up from those trailblazing women, I am less intimidated. I am over a decade older than when my experience on the front lines of primetime television began. Shopping Nefariority's query letter out to fellow rising literary stars brought with it harsh criticism. Thumbing through summary chapter descriptions without reading the manuscript, a friend turned brute critic sent me a message saying, "I wish you would stop playing the victim. Enough already. You run into meetings like everything is on fire and there is nothing to extinguish." I realized that he was missing the central theme, travail. I also realized that one friend was one person, one opinion, one unpublished writer who would not be the determining factor as to whether or not I continued to endeavor on this literary journey. There is a metaphysical hunger pang surging the curiosity and frustration of the masses who really want to know what is actually going on in Hollywood. Who is behind the curtain? Conspiracy theories or not, it lands on a production assistant driving a golf cart on the studio lot where the word Illuminati is encapsulated on the sign of a major production company's headquarters. It was unsettling to pick up on the little breadcrumbs dropped during Super Bowl halftime shows. The lyrics of "Once You're Mine, There's No Going Back," sang in 2015, seemingly foreshadowed the masked dancers en masse that took to the field in 2021 alongside the headliner who bore an inverted cross. The lyrics of "Once You're Mine, There's No Going Back," sang in 2015, seemingly foreshadowed the masked dancers en masse that took to the field in 2021 alongside the headliner. The lyrics of "Once You're Mine, There's No Going Back," sang in 2015, seemingly foreshadowed the masked dancers en masse that took to the field in 2021 alongside the headliner who bore an inverted cross. A friend of mine texted me during that 2021 performance, "See, they're making fun of us." As someone diagnosed with long COVID, I choose not to plead ignorance. Maybe I do read too much into things, but if I don't, then who will? Without total and complete disownment of such nefarious agenda, I cannot help but often feel as if we are being slapped in the face by not so subliminal messaging. I am one of the few who has caught a glimpse of who is pulling the strings, and that insight helps me not fall prey to indoctrination.